right, so I wanted to talk about something that I've been seeing online and in my comments section. Now, I've made a video about this before. It was called Extending and Keeping Interest in the Line. Now, in it, I discussed how McFarlane was slow rolling on classic looks and most wanted characters for figures. Now, I had discussed this with a couple of other collectors, and one thing we always came to the conclusion about, and that was that you never release all of your heavy hitters at once. You kind of got to string it along. Your most requested figures are something that you keep in your back pocket. Now, the reasoning behind this is that classic looks and classic figures will always sell. That's like a license to print money. Beloved characters will always make a profit. Let's just say you're going to release a Dr. Fate. You could release a classic comic book accurate Dr. Fate, and of course, it's going to sell out. It's going to sell like gangbusters. But if you try and release a video game Dr. Fate or a movie design Dr. Fate, it's just not going to have the same pop. But you can always have that classic version of the character to release at a later date. And that's just smart business. You have to do that if you want to extend the life of your line. Keeping collectors invested and interested and waiting for those, most wanted versions of characters and the highly anticipated versions that they want to add to their collection. Even though in the end, no matter what characters are released, you're always going to have the people that are not satisfied. No matter what, way you go, which direction you go, you're always going to have people that are unhappy. And one thing for sure,
you freaking fricks just can't ever be quenched. Your fantasies can't ever be quenched, can they?
now what did we see McFarlane do? In the first year, we saw him experimenting. I mean, aside from the first wave that was Batman, that Superman 1000, which still holds up, Nightwing, Batgirl, Harley Quinn. Once he got past that, he started experimenting. Now, I think a lot of it has to do, coming down from Warner Brothers, DC. They wanted to see some of the newer visions of their characters from the newer comics to expose them to collectors and casual fans. That's where we got Batman Who Laughs and all of the Dark Knight medals, which is an acquired taste, but I have to say are some of the best, uniquely sculpted with a great edge to them that are beautiful all put together on the shelf, especially if you enjoy the darkness as I do. Now, of course, at this time, McFarlane was relying heavily on Batman, which a lot of companies that have the DC license also do, and I would say are almost forced to do. Now, this was a smart move by McFarlane because that allowed him to get a footing in the retail market and slowly open it up to lesser known, more collector friendly characters, being able to flesh out the rest of the line. And you can see this in the fact that he would sporadically sprinkle in some classic looks for characters while at the same time going out on a limb and making some really out there designed figures. And let's face it, the bottom line was to make a good amount of profit. And I have to say, this was McFarlane playing it smart, playing it very smart, because flash forward to today, he knows or is recognizing that at this time there is a finish line. He does have more than a year left with the license. And what he could do is sit back, release a lot of classic versions of characters that he always knew would bring in the revenue. At the same time, maybe add some specific passion projects that he had. Maybe get to an absolute Batman. Maybe we'll finally get that Mr. Miracle and Barda 2-pack. And at the whole time, just raking in the profits from these classic versions, more sought after versions that everybody has wanted from the beginning, really allowing him to go out with his head held high, and we'll have a very nice DC Multiverse from McFarlane collection by the end of it. Now, the first step in this is exactly tomorrow. They're going to go up for pre order, even though people have started seeing them in the stores. And that is the next digital wave, which consists of Silver Age Superman, Silver Age Dr. Fate, and Silver Age Two-Face. Now, these are released under the DC Direct banner, which is something that is still up in the air. If McFarlane could work his way into being allowed to still release figures under the DC Direct banner. So let me know what you guys think down below. Catch you on the next one.